Okay, so hi everyone, thanks for joining us. Bringing you on the Skills Hive page on LinkedIn, another lockdown story. Today, I'm joined by Aaron Taylor from 62.tech.
Tech, yeah, 62.tech.
So, Aaron, tell us a bit about your company, and then we'll get into the discussion of lockdown. What has lockdown been like for you?
Yeah. So 62, we are a web design and development business. We've been running for a little over, well, this is our 10th year actually,
Nice.
running, which makes us kind of like one of the old boys in the web design game. Yeah, we're really all about kind of planning, designing, building, and growing websites that help you reach those new levels that kind of become part of the team,
Mm.
rather than just kind of being a fancy sort of business card. We're really about
Yeah.
helping people go beyond, and also kind of alongside that, we're kind of campaigning for just kind of greater empowerment for people when they're buying websites, because
Yeah.
they've been around a long time. A lot of people still don't have a clue really like what they are or what they could be used for,
Yeah.
and we're just trying to give people the tools so they can make better choices, have better conversations, like around their website as well. So
Yeah, I've seen your videos, and some other people may well have seen those. They're brilliant and very candid, very entertaining. And as you say, that it's all about demystifying it and saying, look, it's just another piece of tech that can help you do something. And
yeah, what
and
is that thing that you want to do?
exactly, it's not
Here
about
are
the
some
tech.
good questions.
It's not
Yeah,
about the tech.
exactly.
It's about achieving some sort of outcome, right?
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah.
And so lockdown then, it looks like you're fully entrenched at home there. How's it all been going?
Yeah, it's been quite an eye opener, not just for ourselves, but like for our clients as well. There's there's definitely for most of the people, especially in the B2B space, there are a lot of benefits, probably more pros than cons, because the word is that everyone's doing stuff that they should have been doing anyway.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
This has been stuff that's, maybe it's in the 2-year plan, or, the 5-year vision or whatever. And now they're just like accelerating those plans.
So do you mean things like projects that had already been identified as this is the right thing to do when we get time
Yeah.
to do it? And actually,
Yeah,
the
exactly.
first couple of weeks, everyone's been saying, especially consultants have been saying, the first 2 3 weeks, everyone just went, no, can't do anything because they're putting out
Yeah.
fires, right? And making
Yeah. Yeah.
plans to go remote and everything else. But
Yeah.
then everyone's suddenly come back and gone, right, we've got time to do some proper strategic stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. The noise, there's a lot less noise now. People are being more productive. We're finally getting a hang on like how to actually make best use of all these digital platforms. And so for those businesses that have been sort of forward looking and gone, right, we need to go on this isn't 6 month, 12-month thing now, this is now. They've been able to make a huge success of it. And like for us, it's we were prepared for it without realizing, because we've been promoting like flexible working,
Mm.
working from home, yeah, and remote working and that sort of thing. Everything's in the cloud, everyone's got laptops, all of those things, because we wanted to create a business that gives people, we don't just want the team to be like slaves to the job, we want people to have a good quality of life around it. We want people's best work, not their most,
Mm.
not presenteeism, I think
Yeah,
they call it.
yeah, that's a great term that I
Yeah.
hate. but
Yeah.
I mean, I suppose being 10 years old, right?
Mm,
It's safe to assume that is your attitude. But older businesses, do you think? I mean, clearly, more traditional businesses have had their hand forced, and in a lot of
Mm.
cases have proven themselves wrong that it can be done actually. And
Yeah.
you know, how far do you think some of those businesses will embrace this sort of model?
I mean, it's quite remarkable how a situation like this makes you rethink what, like, the definitions of certain things and what the requirements are, because I took for granted the fact that so much business is predicated on the assumption that your customer will be able to leave their house and travel to another location physically to enjoy your products and or services. And this has kind of totally flipped that on the head. And I think that, again, those businesses that have been adversely affected, that had a business model which required physical presence, if they've been able to pivot, then what I think is going to happen is that they're going to do even better when they come out of lockdown, because they've now found a whole other way of making money without face to face.
Yeah. And the associated overheads and
yeah,
time constraints.
But then when their traditional business model comes back, they still got that there.
Yeah.
They're still set up to service that. So I think there will be a lot of success coming out of this. There's going to be, the casualties, I think, are going to be brutal.
Yeah.
So
are you still talking about B2B then? Because again, I've spoken to coaches who have started to launch new products that are very much, you know, in this format, and they've managed to make that work really quickly, and have now got all these ideas of additional sort of products and services that they can release. But thinking on a B2C sort of sense, I mean, you know, we sort of like to meet out and about, and you know, meals, drinks, events. That side of things clearly, you know, has been, frankly, you know, impossible. So how has that affected your way of life? You know, how are you going to go to as many events physically in the future, do you think? Or
that is a real interesting one, actually, because what are those events gonna look like? I can't see, you know, your traditional exhibitions are happening or being able to turn a profit, because and that, for us, like, you know, this is one of the things that actually I think about how we've been affected. That was like a huge, exhibitions was like a real big source of leads for us. And luckily, being in the sector that we are and having the kind of client base that we do, we've got quite a diverse client base. And so, unlike some people that were like super niche, you know, we do X for food and drink, you know, or for restaurants or hotels, where that's just like your entire market gets literally shut down overnight. We've had clients that are like negatively correlated to it. So people that got busier, and you know, so that means that our marketing hasn't taken that sort of a hit, because people that need us are now scrambling to kind of get it sorted. But that, I just, going back to kind of, you know, the exhibitions, I just don't really see that working. There's the economics beneath it have to change, and that change needs to, frankly, start with rates. Because if the rates on a commercial property, if something isn't done about that, then the person who's going to rent it to hold the exhibition is going to still have to somehow sell. They're going to have to sell, let's say, they're going to have to cut the number of participants by like 50% at least to create enough space for social distancing. So they've then got to make the same amount of money with half the amount of customers and footfall. You know, I just don't see
certainly
how that's going to work
in the short term. And again, I mean, I was on a call earlier today, I think it was now, I don't know, it's Blur's Day, they all blur into one, right? And but I think I was talking to a guy that's involved with real estate and has a network of properties and what have you, and he was saying even his own property had been given a lower valuation as he was changing mortgage products, and that's been during lockdown. And someone else on the call was like, "Oh no, I didn't want to hear that. I've got a property for sale at the moment that I need to maximize my return on, really." And I was thinking, well, look, there's so much pressure here in terms of first-time buyers for there to be some sort of major change in the property market. And like you say, it extends into the commercial world where the cost of premises, be it an exhibition or be it your office, it dictates your commercial viability and the model that you choose to take on to deliver that. So, without wanting to be sort of unrealistic, is this really a chance to really rethink some of these big economic paradigms, do you think?
I think absolutely, but it's one of those things where you kind of go, hopefully we'll never have this situation again, especially on this kind of scale, but there is such a big opportunity whilst the world is literally like the whole world ground to a halt at the same time.
Exactly.
When has that ever happened, in history, that other than in times of war,
it wasn't the same sort of level of effect.
Exactly.
Even then, not to, in any way belittle that as an experience, which was absolutely horrendous, but yeah, it's different, right?
Yeah. And there's got to be an opportunity to say, well, look, when we start picking things up again, maybe there's some kind of new economics that we can start trialing and testing out and rolling out across the board, because wholesale, like everyone, like every country is borrowing and it's gone through the roof.
It becomes meaningless, right?
It's all fiat money, so it's borrowed against it's like our government's raised a whole bunch of debt through bonds, so they're hoping that other people will effectively like kind of buy that debt, and they'll pay interest on it. There's an opportunity to go, well, look, if I owe you a fiver and you owe him a tenner and he owes someone else 15 quid and they owe me 20 quid, can we not like sort of can we not zero out some of this?
But it's a big decision and no one seems prepared to make it. Well, no one really has the power to make it. It's beyond government level, and there is nothing beyond government level, right? Well, obviously you've got international institutions, but and you've got international commercial entities, and I don't know. There's clearly are no answers right now, but I think I'm just keen to try and stimulate the debate around this side of it.
I think what we will see is I think we'll see governments starting to basically gonna like spend their way out of it, because the unemployment market, like no one can carry the levels of unemployment that we're going to see once the new normal returns, because businesses, even with things like bounce back loans, like the businesses still need to ramp up that machine. There's an amount of kind of inertia that a business generates once it gets its operations going, its sales, its marketing, and things like that. And the demand, re-engaging that demand from a customer base, that might be reprioritizing, that might be watching pennies, that might have whole families put on furlough and things like that. So it's not really going to be a case of like, even if they opened everything tomorrow, there would still be a ramp up for businesses to get back to the kind of levels of revenue and profit that they had before. And they probably got like less of a workforce. So you've got a huge unemployed, a much larger unemployed market. And the government's like, well, I need these people to be employed, because if they're not earning money, then I'm not making, they're not spending money, and I'm not raising anything in taxation. So I reckon governments are going to start you're going to see a lot more internal investment, a lot more kind of big infrastructure
To create
kind
jobs,
of,
right?
yeah, basically to create jobs,
Well,
to
that's
kind of,
certainly the way it's happened previously. But if it's gone too far, and they get the calculators out saying, well, that's still only going to make it, not going to make a dent. You got to think differently. I've spoke to someone else about things like, some sort of universal income type approach, which has been tabled before, and it's that sort of thing that I think could at least, if it's not a paradigm shift, it's some sort of nudge which might well take us in a new direction. Going back to your own situation, then, what would a return to work look like for you and your team? What's the new normal for you guys?
Yeah, well, like we haven't stopped. We've been lucky that
Yeah.
we've not needed to furlough anyone. We've not needed to ask anyone to like take pay cuts or anything like that.
That's
We're going good, and we're busy. And we've been we've all decided, like, we polled the team, we've all decided that we actually quite like working from home, least of all because some of the guys were traveling 40 minutes an hour to get to the office.
Right.
So we've now kind of gone, well, do we need the big office? Can we just kind of keep it as a like a meeting? We've got a meeting room as well. So like the new normal is kind of this, having a physical space to where you just need to be in a room working with someone. But actually the majority of the time, people are working from home. And we've all, like, across the board, we've all seen an improved quality of life. We're all happier, more productive, less stressed. So that's kind of, who'd have thought, stay at home.
I love that you sort of said them in that order, because again, more traditional businesses will be looking at productivity first, right? And even then, the statistics are saying this works. Certainly, all the anecdotal evidence I've heard is, the productivity is through the roof. Fantastic. Well, yeah, people have been saying that for ages, and that you just didn't believe it. But it doesn't start there. It starts with less stress, happier. Well, then I'm going to be more productive, right?
Exactly. Because a lot of we spend a lot of time, we try and front load our hiring as much as possible. And because we want people that, like, if they weren't doing this, they'd be doing this. You know what I mean? Like, and we want those people that are just like engaged and get that sense of satisfaction and fulfillment when they're working in their roles. And so, you want that person to be happy. You want them to reach those flow states. You want them to be. You want to put them in a situation where they can do their best possible work easily, and then they're smashing their targets. They feel great about themselves. It's fantastic for the business.
Is that still the only measure, really? The targets, the KPIs, or is there? Would you ever attempt to measure flow? I mean, flow, I get it. That's absolutely the ultimate position to be in. But
that's an interesting one, actually, because I think kind of like sort of Schrodinger's cat. Like, you can't measure whether the cat's alive or dead until you open the box, and then it's but like, you could probably measure it sort of by proxy. Ultimately, it comes out in the finances at the end of it. You've got, are we more profitable per project, per piece of work now than before? Are we getting more things done, more things ticked off on our lists, but still recording the same amount of time worked? As those measurements, which are we planning hours and getting them things done in less time?
Mm.
You know, is there a higher quality of output? Like all of these things come together to kind of give us that you know, you productivity, you've got to be in some kind of flow state. You can't be
Yeah.
productive if you're running around like a blue ass fly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like you know.
Zone. I think it's really interesting to hear, you know, someone like yourself to just really sort of wedded to and committed to those quite traditional measures, and but at the same time coming at it from an angle of, as you say, it implies flow, which is my
Mm,
focus. My focus isn't, you know, do more work, make more money.
yeah,
It's let's get you in a flow, and that stuff will just happen, and we'll measure
yeah,
it, and that's great. So
yeah.
what about I know you guys are reasonably agile with,
Mm.
I don't know, is it a capital A or a small A for you guys? But what I'm thinking is, do you use things like task velocity as you know, like you say, if you plan to do something and then find out actually we've done it quicker, brilliant, let's go with that. And then can we
Yeah,
keep that going? Can we build some momentum based on our understanding of I suppose flow, right?
yeah,
Within
yeah.
that team.
Again, that kind of those sort of velocity measurements and those things that kind of sort of come from Scrum, um, like we don't measure those because I guess ultimately we don't need to. And what with our business, we're effectively selling time for money and adding value through experience,
Hmm.
and like a lot of service-based businesses. Um, and with that, your unit of currency is the hour, really, isn't it?
Mm.
And that's the only thing that you can influence. I can't do anything to make someone work faster at something. I can do stuff to reduce the amount of inputs or expertise, or you know, I can automate things, but that ain't going to make you work faster.
Mm.
So if I'm measuring like how quickly things are getting done as a rate, then I'm still going to have to go back and like that doesn't give me anything to work with. If a task is continually taking longer than the hours budgeted,
Yeah.
then I can requote the next time that task gets done, or I can
Yeah.
change that task so that it takes less time to fit within the budgeted hours. But still, the rate at which people will be working will be a factor of, I guess, the complexity of the task, their
Yeah.
skill, and
Well,
that sort of thing.
I definitely see that measure being really helpful around ensuring that the team, the blend within the team,
Mm,
means that everyone's performing to their strengths and in flow, as you say. And I think it could be a useful measure, but like you said, probably not in the short term. It's more about, you know, is everyone repeatedly finding the right project, the right combination of
mm,
people, and learning along the way, so that
mm,
task velocity is always on a decent, you know, it's always
mm.
improving, let's say. But look, I
Yeah.
don't want to get hung up on that at all. But we're going into you know, minutia and micro analytics like we do. But look, I mean, it's been great to speak with you. This we could go on for hours, and no doubt we'll carry on talking when we stop recording. But is there anything
Mhm.
else, you know, from your own personal experience of this whole lockdown, or looking
Mm.
forward into the future, that you just wanted to sort of finish on?
Um, I think this kind of I don't know, this concept of the new normal, um, like whatever it might be, I think now is the time to try out, like, and to experiment and to go like, well, don't wait for the new normal to happen to you. You can create it, because right now no one knows. This is what, like, when was the last time the government was in contact with the population daily? For 3 months they've been talking to us daily. Why? Because they haven't got a clue. You know, like,
Yep,
and
I would say
so
indeed.
we've got this fantastic opportunity to do things differently, to try things, to you know, just throw stuff at a wall, because there's a safety net there. Like the economic system has been put on hold. The government's created a fantastic safety net with a furlough scheme. Like, you can try shit.
Yep.
You can literally just try stuff, and if it fails, well, the impact is minimized. So you can create this new normal, and you don't have to wait for someone to go, this is how we're doing things now. Like, the norms have been thrown out the window, and they need to be, like, they can be reestablished by whoever wants to. So that's what I'd kind of.
Couldn't agree more. Couldn't agree more. Yeah. So the message is, folks, try shit.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. It's time to innovate.
You can't fail right now. Like, the economy is broken. You cannot fail in it.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
Exactly. And you don't have to stop, right? It's not about, you know, I think this could become a perpetual new normal, right? And why not?
Yeah.
Just carry on innovating, and
Yeah.
we'll keep moving with the times and making sure that
Yeah.
you know, we're anticipating and we're creating value for each other in business and as individuals. So look, really appreciate your time, Aaron. So
Thanks for having me.
Look, we will catch up with you very soon, and we'll catch up with you very soon. Thank you very much for watching. We'll have more lockdown stories coming on the Skills Hive page on LinkedIn very soon. Take care, everyone. Thanks, Em. Bye.